Life is a race sometimes filled with noise, stress, hurt, and broken dreams. We move forward, we fall, we start again, and often we feel alone, misunderstood, tired. Maybe you know that feeling too. You look around and wonder, does anyone really see what I'm going through? Does anyone hear what I don't even say? Can I still hope for something deeper than this exhausting routine? What if I told you yes, that you can find peace, that you can find your direction, that you can be renewed from within, and that it can all begin with one simple yet powerful thing, prayer. But not just a lifeless prayer. I'm talking about that real prayer, the one that comes from the heart, the one that emerges from the silence of your tears, the one that cries out in secret, the one that trembles, the one that waits, the one that breaks down the walls you built over the years, the one that shatters your invisible chains, the one that opens the sky above your life. Prayer, it's the key. And if you're still here listening to these words, it's not by chance. It's because there's a seed within you, a little spark that believes something else exists, a force greater than yourself, a presence that can transform your story. So open your heart. This message may be the turning point you've been waiting for. But before we enter into that profound revelation, let me tell you this. If you feel that what you're hearing speaks to you, challenges you, if you feel that deep within you, something is awakening, then subscribe now. Not for me, not for views, but so that you don't lose this path. And share this message with someone, because you never know. A simple video can change a heart, and a changed heart can change a life. Let's get back to basics. Prayer isn't a magic method. It's not a religious obligation. It's a conversation, a breath, an encounter. When you pray, you don't enter a church nor a temple. You enter an even more sacred place, the heart of God. And in this heart, there is no judgment. There is no performance. There is no rejection. There is just a place. Your place, the one no one can take, the one that has always been waiting for you. Maybe you've never really prayed, or maybe you've tried, but you didn't feel anything. Maybe you even prayed for something you never saw coming, so you got discouraged. You thought it was useless. But let me tell you this, every true prayer touches heaven, even the ones you say in a whisper, even the ones you can't finish. Even the ones you don't say with your mouth, but with your tears. Do you know why? Because God doesn't look for your perfect words. He looks for your sincere heart. And when you open your heart, even with all your fears, all your doubts, all your failures, He doesn't turn away. He listens to you. He waits for you. He embraces you. Transformation doesn't always come in an instant. Sometimes it's a process, a seed sown in the dark soil. It doesn't germinate right away. It takes time, water, light, and above all, the seed must remain in the earth. It must persevere. That is prayer. Every day you come, you speak, you listen, you leave, you receive. Sometimes you feel something, sometimes not. But every time, something changes. And one day you look back and you realize you're not the same anymore. Your way of seeing the world has changed. Your way of reacting to storms has changed. You may not have avoided every trial, but you've come through them with a peace you can't even explain. And that's when you understand prayer doesn't just change circumstances. It changes you. It makes you stronger, gentler, wiser, freer. But be careful. Praying doesn't mean running away from reality. Praying is facing life with God. It's no longer walking alone. It's inviting a divine power into your battles. It's laying down your weapons so that he may give you his own, because there are battles you will never win on your own, wounds you can never heal on your own, decisions you could never make with your logic alone. You need more. You need his presence. And you don't have to earn that presence. You don't have to be perfect. Look at the story in the Bible. God never chose the strongest, the brightest, the holiest. He chose the weak, the broken, the forgotten, because they had a willing heart. You too can have that heart. Not a perfect heart, but a heart ready to seek, to listen, to learn, to rise again. And that's what triggers true transformation. True transformation doesn't always happen spectacularly. It often happens in privacy, where no one sees you, where your struggles are known only to you, where you stand, sometimes alone in a silent room, and you choose to speak to God. And in that simple, discreet, hidden choice, a revolution begins. Because you have no idea what prayer does invisibly. You don't see what God is aligning, preparing, building, while you surrender to him. There are blockages in your life that won't go away with effort, nor with human strategies. There are chains that no amount of advice can break. But a single prayer said with faith can make them fall. Because prayer isn't just words. It's a spiritual weapon. And you don't need to be a pastor, a prophet, or an elder to wield it. You can just be you, with your story, your past, your baggage, your pain, your thirst, and God meets you there. Imagine for a moment, every morning, instead of starting your day with your phone or your worries, you begin with a few minutes of prayer. You stop, you breathe deeply. You align yourself. You open up. You speak. You listen. Day after day, your perspective shifts. You're no longer reacting. You're leading. You're no longer enduring the day. You approach it with authority. And this authority, it comes from this connection with heaven. Because prayer isn't about running away from reality. It's about inviting the supernatural into reality. It's about saying, I am not alone. I am not lost. I am guided. And this simple truth transforms everything. When you make prayer a habit, it becomes like breathing. You can't live without it because you see what it produces. You feel more patient, less worried. You make better decisions. You show more compassion. And above all, you stand firm even when everything is shaky. But for this prayer to be alive, it must come from the heart, not just from the mouth. You can pray standing, sitting, kneeling, walking silently, or out loud. What matters is not the form. It's authenticity. A sincere sentence is better than a religious speech. Sometimes you won't have the words. It will just be, Lord, I don't know what to say, but I am here. And he will answer you, I am here too. And that moment can be enough to lift you up. There are people who have lost everything. Their health, their job, their family, their dignity. But they have not lost prayer. And it is this prayer that has carried them, nourished them, restored them, lifted them up. Never underestimate what God can do with sincere prayer. It was in prayer that Joseph kept his faith in prison. It was in prayer that Jonah cried out from the belly of the fish. It was in prayer that Esther prepared the deliverance of an entire people. And it was in prayer that Jesus, before the cross, shed tears until he bled, not to flee the mission, but to have the strength to see it through to the end. If even the Son of God needed to pray, how much more do you and me? Prayer is not an option. It is a source. It is strength. It is shelter. And it is a fire. Yes, a fire. Because the more you pray, the more your heart burns. the more you desire the truth, the more you hate what destroys you, the more you discern what is good, and the more you are drawn to the light. Do you want to get out of this toxic relationship? Start praying. Do you want to heal from this old wound? Start praying. Do you want wisdom for your future? Start praying. Do you want to break this addiction? Start praying. And not once, not twice, but again and again until heaven answers. And it will answer always, not always as you expect, but always better than you imagined. God hears, God sees, God acts, but He wants your heart. He wants your trust. He wants your yes. Even if you tremble, even if you doubt, even if you are weak, He has never rejected those who come to Him with sincerity. And the good news is you can start now. No need to wait for Sunday. No need to go to a special place. Right there, right where you are, just close your eyes, open your heart, and speak. Tell Him what you feel, what you're going through, what you hope for, what you fear, and stay there, even for a few minutes. You'll see, He's there too. There is something incredibly powerful about talking to God. You are not addressing a wall. You're not speaking into the void. You are addressing the one who created the universe, who formed the stars, but who also knows your first name, the one who holds the world in His hands, but who hears every beat of your heart. Prayer is not just a spiritual discipline. It is a living connection, a bridge, a golden thread between you and heaven. And when this connection becomes strong, it changes your entire way of life. You're no longer ruled by fear, but by faith. You no longer live in confusion, but in peace. You are no longer a prisoner of your past, but open to a new future. For you see, prayer not only transforms what surrounds you, it transforms who you are. It works on your thoughts. It renews your intelligence. It teaches you forgive, even when it is difficult. It teaches you patience, even when you want everything right away. It opens you to compassion, even toward those who have hurt you, little by little, without you realizing it. It reshapes your heart in the image of the one you pray to. And this interchange always ends up showing on the outside. You begin to speak differently, to react differently. You become a source of calm where there was chaos. You become a light in dark places. You become an example without even trying. Why? Because it's no longer just you who lives. It's God who lives through you. And that begins in prayer. So, don't let anyone tell you that praying is a waste of time. Don't let your past failures convince you that God isn't listening. Don't let routine or fatigue prevent you from speaking to your Creator. Prayer is a weapon for the weak, a key for the locked up, a hand extended to the lost. And even if you only have a few words, say them. Even if you only have tears, shed them. Even if you only have a sigh, let it out. Heaven understands every language. Sometimes you won't get an immediate answer, and that's where many give up. They think God isn't responding. But often, God's silence isn't a refusal. It's a preparation. Sometimes God doesn't change the situation because He's changing you. He wants you to be ready. He wants your heart to be aligned. He wants your faith to be deep. Because what you expect, what you ask for, what you hope for, has weight, and that weight requires maturity. Otherwise, what you receive too soon could destroy you. But when you pray, you mature, you grow, you become stronger. And then at the perfect moment, God opens a door. And that day, you'll understand why you had to wait, why you had to cry, why you had to persevere. And you'll see that nothing was wasted, not a single tear, not a single word, not a single moment in His presence. Everything was used to shape you, because God never does things by halves. What he begins, he finishes. But you must stay connected. You must stay in prayer, even when you don't feel like it, even when you feel nothing, because it is in faithfulness that power grows. Imagine a tree. It doesn't grow in a day. It grows because every day it receives what it needs: water, light, roots. You too need this water, and this water is prayer. Every prayer, even simple, even short, is like a drop falling on your inner seed. And one day, that seed becomes a tree, and that tree bears fruit, much fruit. But if you stop watering, it dries up. So don't stop. Keep speaking. Keep believing. Keep hoping, because God has never left you. Even in your silence, even in your falls, he was there. He is still there, and he is waiting for you. And you know what's wonderful? It's that when you pray, you don't need to come with a pretty face. You can come as you are, tired, dirty, discouraged, honest, and he receives you. He never looks away. He never says, "You've disappointed me too much." He says, "Come," always. And when you come, he acts, he restores, he speaks. You may not hear an audible voice, but your heart will know. Your mind will be at peace. You will feel that something has changed, and that is a sign that God has listened. You will never be the same again. Do you know what prayer also does? It frees you from what others think of you. Because by seeking human approval, we forget God's. But when you spend time with your Creator, you remember that you have value even when no one tells you so. You are not defined by your mistakes, nor by the negative words spoken about you. You are defined by God's truth. And this truth is revealed in prayer. You begin to see differently. You look at yourself differently. You are no longer an accident. You are divine intention. You are no longer lost. You are found. You are no longer alone. You are accompanied. And where you once went from battle to battle, now you advance from faith to faith. You are still in the same life, yes, but with a new outlook, a heavenly perspective. Prayer gives you wings in the valleys. It lifts you up even when the earth gives way, because it connects your soul to something greater than yourself. But to see this transformation, you must persevere. Don't think that because you prayed for 3 days, everything will change. No, sometimes God acts quickly, but sometimes he builds deeply, and that kind of building takes time. God doesn't just want to bless you. He wants you to be able to carry that blessing without it destroying you. So he equips you, and he does it in secret, in those intimate moments, in those meetings where you choose to turn off the noise to hear his voice. It is in stillness that trust is born, and in trust there is peace. A peace that doesn't depend on circumstances, a peace that surpasses understanding. You can be in the eye of the storm, but remain calm, because you know that the one you spoke to, the one in whom you place your faith, is holding the boat. Remember Daniel. They wanted to crush him, stop him, extinguish him. But he had a habit. 3 times a day, he opened his window to Jerusalem and prayed. And because of this faithfulness, God protected him in the lion's den. It wasn't Daniel's power that shut the mouths of the wild beasts. It was his relationship with God. And you can have that relationship too. You don't need to have grown up in a church. You don't need to have theological knowledge. You just need a true heart, a heart that says, "Lord, I want to know you. I want to talk to you. I want to hear you." And God always answers that kind of prayer. He will speak to you in a verse, in a dream, in a sudden conviction. in a moment of silence where you feel His peace fill you, and you will know that you are never alone again. And even if everything around you remains complicated, you will be different. You will no longer react the same way. You will no longer panic like before. You will no longer lose hope so quickly. Why? Because your anchor is planted elsewhere. You are rooted in heaven, and nothing and no one can uproot a tree whose roots are deep, and this depth is deepened through prayer. One day, you will look back, and you will see how far you have come. You will see that what broke you yesterday no longer affects you today. You will see that your sensitivity has changed, that your heart has become softer, that your choices are more aligned with your mission, and all of this will be the fruit of a life of prayer. So yes, keep going, even when you are tired, even when you don't want to, even when you don't understand. Keep going, because God doesn't hide. He's waiting. He's waiting for you to come. Not perfect, not strong, just true. And the more you come, the more you'll change.